What the? How'd you get in my? Who are you? How do you know the code to my door? What are you talking? I don't understand you. I only speak English.
English?
Yes.
Mi casa, su casa.
That's Spanish.
This is our current home, and when you applied for Xiaohongshu, you agreed to
너네
give up
여차야,
all
니도
your
지, okay?
information
뭐
to
동네
the
여차,
Chinese soldiers at home. And
What?
if you
No.
refused, it was a
방야오.
death sentence.
Wait, what? What did I say?
喂，肥仔，起身，快啲起身，
What-
快啲起身，
what are you
要做
doing?
運動啊，快啲啊，
What?
Why did-
Where are we going?
快啲！
What'd you wake me up for? Yo! What'd you wake me up so early for? Hey! Ow! What? Ow!
It's funny because Xiaohongshu legit steals your data and IP and location information. So technically, once you agree to their term of use, they're literally living with you now. Now, if you've been following me on X for the past 2 days, yeah, it's been a battlefield. I've never gotten so many little pinks or 50-cent armies coming my way, which actually was kind of refreshing and exciting. So I've been engaged in a common warfare with them for the last 2 days, basically around this whole Xiaohongshu thing, right? The red note thing. Also, screw you guys for introducing me to the Yap dollar brain rot. Honestly, it's so addicting. I can't stop watching it, but also I know that's probably the worst thing for me to do. Time wasting, of course.
Fascist countries ban websites. Fascist countries ban apps and websites under the guise of threats to national security, when every other country knows it's about suppressing the free speech of its citizens. If the government believes that a single app could quote from the hearing on the 10th.
What I've noticed throughout this whole public opinion warfare over Xiaohongshu is that many Americans, Zoomers, which they don't have a complete understanding of what communism really is, never lived in those kind of countries, are actually praising what China is doing and saying China has it better than us. But is that really the reality? And what really happens when they go to China?
Bet your bottom dollar I went over the red note and signed right on up. There is nothing that I hate more than the government trying to tell me what I can and cannot do. Listen, I have a mom and I have a dad. I don't need the government to play that role in my life. I'm a grown man. I'll do what men do, and I will rebel against whatever this government tells us to do.
Americans are falling for the easiest propaganda. They think what they're seeing on Xiaohongshu is the real China.
So I downloaded RedNote, and I am no longer convinced that we are living in a first world country. Seeing the everyday lives of Chinese people, like obviously certain Chinese people, I'm not saying everybody's lives, but it's just like insanely eye-opening. There's something really remarkable that I have noticed about most of these Chinese people, even older people, like people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they look so much less traumatized than most Americans. Our citizens here are not only like really cold and mean and disconnected and combative, but like you can just see people's problems on their face.
That's like saying if some Chinese person came to New York City and toured the Empire State Building, that's the representation of America. It's not, right?
I have other important things to worry about. I still have to pay my rent. If it's made by China, that's awesome. Everyone on this app has been so kind. Unlike our government who wants to take away our freedom of speech. So, I will gladly stay here. Thank you everyone for being so kind. All of us TikTok.
So the first comment here says, on Chinese social media platforms, please do not mention sensitive topics such as politics, religion, and drugs. Please adhere to the One China policy, reject pornography, gambling, and drugs. And videos like this paint America as one hellhole. Of course there's problems. Of course people think that the medical system is bad, that you have to pay a lot of money. But it's not like China is this wonderful utopia. There is a reason why Chinese people are flying to Turkey, from Turkey flying to Ecuador, from Ecuador journeying through the Darien Gap, trekking through the jungle, going up through Mexico, literally getting robbed by cartel members just so they end up at the southern border, risking their lives to make that journey to escape China. You don't see Americans flying to India, climbing up to the Himalayas, scaling over the mountains, going into Tibet to try to seek refugee status from China. You don't see that happening at all. There's a reason for that.
I just want to make this clear. If it's ever like I have to pick the US or China, I'm picking China. If we go to war with China, I'm defecting to China. If they're like, oh, we're going to do a draft and you have to go fight. Nope. Immediately giving all secrets to China. Loose lips sink ships, and I'm going to be sinking every U.S. ship with my... China can have my data. China can have my passwords. China can have my secrets. China can know everything about me.
So what Americans don't understand is that people in China, people around the world, see America for the real value it provides. Aside from all of its flaws, which are transparent, and that's a good thing because you can criticize it, there's real freedom here.
大家好，我今天想感谢美国的政府，为了他们的决定来禁止 TikTok， 和给我这个机会开始学习中文。我从小的时候非常想学这个漂亮的语言，但是没有办法。
So if you genuinely thought that this girl could learn Chinese and be fluent in a week, here, you know what? I got 3 Golden Gate Bridges to sell you. Each of them, $3. So let's talk about the real China. On January 14th, this man claimed that the people in the video are not wearing the right protective equipment, engaging in what they're calling is container spraying, or in Chinese, it's a slang called sky booted saba. And what the workers are supposed to wear are chemical protective gloves, but they're wearing ordinary leather gloves, and they're cleaning themselves, the face shield, with an extremely toxic chemical because that's the only thing that can get rid of the paint. And they're also using sawdust to clean themselves. Of course, they're not wearing chemical protective PPE, they're wearing plastic covers. So imagine working a few years there, you're likely not even going to make a salary that can cover your medical expense. And surprise, surprise, people thought that China has free healthcare. It doesn't. A lot of people, especially if your jobs don't cover your insurance, or if you're not a member of the CCP, you pay out of pocket for many of the medical expenses. That's why there's a lot of videos of people who can't afford to treat their kids in China.
Because what do you mean? That it never had to be this hard for us? Like, what do you mean? In other countries, they don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries. What do you mean in other countries, everyone can own homes because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent, or that their mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck?
People in urban areas, some of them have to live like this. These are unfinished complexes that the developer essentially are delaying or just completely abandoned, but they're making them pay mortgages from the bank. So these people, rather than wait for the developer, they're just going to live in this unfinished building. Now, here you're seeing them play poker or playing with cards, but guess what? This building's got no utilities done, or it doesn't have a working elevator, or that there's no windows, or something is not good, or there's no cooking gas, things like that, no park amenities. So these people are essentially forced to live in the home that they bought, but are just not finished. Workers in China ahead of the Chinese New Year are seeking to get their pay. They've been owed wages for months on end. So would Zoomers who were so obsessed with the Communist Manifesto be okay with this? Or when they leave for China, be okay to work in these conditions? Zoomers would literally have a meltdown to learn that what they learned about Karl Marx, Communist Manifesto, doesn't work in practice. All the videos that we're showing right now are groups of workers trying to protest not to get paid more, to get paid. What? A country that's built on socialism and built on the communist principles are not paying the workers? The core people of this whole socialist communist revolution are not being paid? Are you serious? What about the things about the proletariats, the class struggles? Is that not something that's supposed to happen in China? A country that's built on the communist ideas? Oh my God, I'm going crazy. It's almost like communism doesn't work. The people that put Lenin and Mao in power are now the ones who are getting screwed over. This person's father passed away before he could get his paycheck. She scrolled through his father's phone to find out the father's bank account had less than 1 yuan left in his bank. He was trying to get his pays days before, and he was already sick, but he couldn't afford to go to the hospital or get medicine. And unfortunately, he passed away before he could get his pay. She also shared how the father tried to buy a $6.99 red envelope online, but was short of a few cents of change, so he ended up buying a lower priced one. This picture here, the father had put a 99 yuan cold medicine in his cart multiple times, but eventually all removed it before checkout. Is this what Zoomers would see on Xiaohongshu? Of course not. They're going to see the regular folks, of course, the white collars, the urban, right? The pretty well small marginal middle class group in China. They're going to see what we see on Instagram. They're going to see beautiful stuff, and they're going to not see the hardships of people in China. But the vast majority of China is these videos and not the ones on Xiaohongshu. Sure, in the United States, you pay a lot for medicines, you pay a lot for different treatments, but did you know that in China, a lot of times these people don't have the money to even get the treatments? They're denied access to medical. There's no such thing as a welfare state. If you do not have a good insurance coverage, or if you're not a member of the CCP, you're screwed. Think about it, would the US deny low-income people Medicaid or Medicare access? Of course not. And this happened on January 16th. A construction company owed workers wages, and workers knelt down on the ground and held up a cardboard which are demanding for their pay. This cardboard reads, "Migrant worker with cancer demanding wages to save their lives. Give back the money I spent to save my life." And this video from July last year, he was protesting for his wages in front of a police station, only to get pepper sprayed by the police. That's the treatment you get for asking for your pay. Again, this is not them asking like a protest to get more pay. This is asking to get paid their fair share of wages. How about Shein? You love to buy the cheap clothes. There's a reason why you can get things for less than $5, a shirt or a bag or whatever. Because these people that are working in Shein factories are working from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. They're working up to 70 to 75 hours a week, and they're also working in pretty suboptimal conditions. They're working hard so Zoomers can get $12 clothes. And let's talk more about healthcare. This mother of two is filmed on the street working at a food stall because she has no support to pay for her children's surgery expenses. Her name is Ling Jing. She's 28-year-old from Chongqing. According to Ling Jing, she gave birth to her eldest son at the age of 18 and found that he had congenital heart disease. So the boy's father chose to off himself because he couldn't bear the pressure and the cost of it, and that left the mother and the son to survive for themselves. And then later, she remarried to another person and had a daughter. But this time, because of familial differences and just problems, they ended up separating. She kept both kids, and right now the son, the older one, has already had 2 surgeries and they're waiting for the third, and the mom is trying to work with whatever she can to make money to pay for it. She said no matter what, she won't give up to save her kid. And how about kids who can't afford to buy winter clothing? This girl's wearing sandals and a single layer standing out in a snow day, and her peers are wearing few layers of clothes or winter clothes or at least shoes with that's closed off. And how about kids who never get to see their parents for more than once a year because their parents are migrant workers and they're in the countryside and they got lices in their hair, they got frostbites on their hands. Do Zoomers care about that? The fact that some Americans are complaining about US censorship, the irony is so laughable, right? You're in the United States. The very fact that you're able to do this, complain about the censorship, it means you have free speech. Whereas in China, you cannot even complain about censorship because guess what? You'll end up in jail. Like this girl who tried to petition online, she ended up getting sent to the mental hospital. Another girl, Li Yixue, tried to expose that she was sexually assaulted, and guess what? She got sent to the mental hospital 3 times. And this video, a group of farmers in the rural countryside in the province of Guizhou, in the town of Maotai, they're holding up their ID cards and begging the government to return the land that they have seized. Private ownership? There's no such thing as that in China. They can take away your land, and they can take away your property. And this farmer here talks about how much money she made from 1.26 hectares of land. She had to work 7 months and her net profit, $1,500. That's about $200 for 7 months of work. Whereas in the West, farmers are some of the richest people you can have. So the fact that people are believing the small fraction of people on a social media app thinking that is what real China is very laughable. But also sad because guess what? That same group of people, they're working 996 job hours, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And yet they have time to post on Xiaohongshu. Of course they want to show off their limited time outside of work because a lot of them are working all the time. So Zoomers, please be grateful with what you have. Xiaohongshu! All right, that's it today for the episode on what the real China is like outside of Xiaohongshu. And please don't fall for the Chinese propaganda. If you enjoy the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, bye-bye.